I want to get to Oregon State. My Beavs in Corvallis. Trent Bray, the new head coach. Jonathan Smith, of course, dropping things off at a Goodwill and then bouncing to East Lansing. Good luck to him. He's near the bottom of those recruiting rankings in that conference, so God bless him. Oregon State came in number 2 in the Pac-12 recruiting rankings. Can you believe this, Schulte? Number 2.
That's awesome. Out of 2 schools?
Out of 2, yes. To be fair, by the ranking metrics, Washington State out-recruited Oregon State. Come on, really?
Sorry, dude.
Really?
You said
you're getting offended by people saying Nike helps you. Get out of here. And you just drubbed my team and then hit me with the loser game show sound?
Just the way that you set it up, it left the door open for it, brother.
You're a jerk.
I love you. Yes, I am. I will take any chance to lord over Beaver fan in this instance. I apologize, but at the same time,
that's okay.
F you.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in September when you come screaming into Reser Stadium.
Oh, the brand new Reser Stadium.
Ben Goldbranson's got a surprise for you.
3 picks?
Top 2 in the recruiting class rankings. Just suck on that one, Schultze. Trent Bray, though, he came up here yesterday to Portland. They do the dinner and the schmoozing and the building of excitement about the program. And with all the uncertainty about their future right now, it's a Mountain West-esque school who's hoping that the landscape continues to change and destroy itself and the ecosystem opens itself up and here comes the Beaver. He's welcome back into the major level of college football. I'm rooting like hell for this guy. I'm just being open and honest, rooting like hell for Trent Bray and actually the whole staff because it's such a Oregon State-centric staff. Keith Hayward, Ryan Gunderson, Kyle DeVan. These guys are loaded with Oregon State experience, former players. And Trent Bray yesterday was talking to KEZI 9 down in Eugene, and this is what he had to say about how he views Oregon State if they lost some of these players when Jonathan Smith left. Obviously, that's natural, right? You get some decommitments. Hey, I was committed to the coach more than the program. And Trent Bray was asked about losing out on guys in the recruiting cycle once Jonathan Smith left. Here's what he had to say.
You never worry about the guys you don't get. High school guys, I understood that was going to happen. Also a learning lesson from when we first got here, not being stuck to the old staff's guys, because they just were going to run different stuff. We're going to be a different system, so they might not fit this system. So we looked at the guys that were committed and the guys that fit our system, and we feel we kept the ones we wanted to and got guys to add to it that fit what we do.
So, yeah, recruiting ranking-wise, not great, Bob. But I've always believed, and I think most people, even if you don't root for Oregon State, the thing about Oregon State is you can't really look at that ranking and determine they're going to be X, Y, and Z. Certainly the profile of the recruiting suggests they should be. But how many years and experience have we seen in Corvallis with a couple coaches that say, outperform their talent profile? It's happened. It happens quite a bit, actually. He also had a comment. I think Nick Daschle had this at Oregon Live, and I'm sure he's got great articles up there at O-Live. I saw, quote, something to the effect of, this staff is about recruiting. I'm summing it up, but it kind of took a shot at the previous staff of not the heaviest of recruiters and how him building this team was all about getting not only good coaches, but getting coaches that are younger and hungry and driven by recruiting. Because even if they'll never get to the level of some of the schools we've already talked about, Schultze, what you can do is you can hit the JUCO route. You can run good systems offensively and defensively and maybe do better in the portal than people think you can. And oh, by the way, if they can take care of their schedule and be the better team of all those Mountain West teams they play and finish with a 10-2 record, that establishes consistency of what they've been doing, and it makes you feel like you don't fall off as much. There are certainly going to be things about the way they play that are going to be different, and I think a little less than, but they've got enough talent this year to keep the ship going, and then you got to build on that with your new staff. So a little, not eye-opening, but Bray kind of just saying, yeah, I built a staff that cares about recruiting a little more because he was a part of the previous one, and the previous one never recruited very highly.
And they still were able to get really good players into the program. I mean, even without that recruiting that Trent Bray's talking about, DJ Uiagalelei transferred over. So they had success doing that, and you like to see Trent Bray basically taking the only route of success that the Beavers can have at this point. And I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm trying to say that this is what the Beavers are left with, and it sounds like
they were dealt a tough hand, for sure.
And it sounds like Scott Barnes made the right hire for a guy that is solely focused on recruiting in this current world, but really finding those undervalued recruits, those 2 and 3 stars that maybe, and yes, I sound like I'm doing like Moneyball talk for the Oakland A's right now back in the early 2000s, but unfortunately.
No, they are. They've always kind of been that, though. They have to find the diamonds in the rough, right? And it's Barnes.
And even more so now.
Bray may pay off for Barnes in that regard. I also would make an argument, and I think I did. It ain't like he had it was him or Paul Christ.
Mm-hmm.
If memory serves, and I'd rather have the guy who's younger and has been there the last.
I think Bronco Mendenhall was kind of brought
Mendenhall.
up.
Yeah, he's kind of been tied to Oregon State because of his experience and his ties to the program. But
another older guy, though.
I kind of felt like that was not really like, I think it was like, this is the easiest choice to make is Trent Bray. I don't know what Bray's going to be as the head coach, but so far, like, he's hitting on the, you know what, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because you lose your coach the way that they lost their coach, and you find all the stuff at Goodwill. It's tough. That's a tough spot to be in, and the recruiting rankings aren't going to show it in any way because, again, they're second in the Pac-2 behind Washington State in that regard. But, given a bit of a tough hand, now it's about, okay, the guys you do have, the experience you do have, Josh Gray's returning, Damian Martinez, you have a quarterback with experience. How can you build on that now? Go into spring ball, establish what your systems are, how your offense is going to run now that you have a new OC, a new vision, and you got to build on it that way. It's at least a guy that is telling me he gives a damn about recruiting versus the last guy I think cared, but kind of had enough of the coaching staff to say, I can get a 2-3-star offensive lineman and it won't matter because Jim Mahalichik can turn him into an all-conference beast and on the offensive line.
Well, just from that cut, I think you can gather that Trent Bray is the guy to lead the Beavers through probably the next 2-3 seasons, as you said, of questionable conference homes, and to the point where stuff will open back up. And really, treading water is the most important thing for the Beavers at this point, but it sounds like they're attacking it the right way.